What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel. It's time for another episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship. We're heading back to ancient Osirion today at the request of de Bergerac. We're cracking open empty graves from the Mummy's Mask adventure path, and we're going to talk about the Queen of Miracles herself, Isis. If you guys are liking what you're seeing, remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. If you've got any requests, they go down there, down in the description. And remember, patronage at any tier gets your requests boosted up to the front of the line. Now, today, this episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship was, of course, brought to you by a man I probably should ping for these homebrew obediences, because Isis doesn't have a lot of info, so of course we're homebrewing it. None other than Mr. Michael Baker. My friend, if you're out there, thanks so much for your support on Patreon. I look forward to book club every month. Haven't heard from you. Definitely am willing and able to schedule anything with you guys whenever. But now, let's go to Egypt. So, in the ancient Egyptian religion, Isis was a major goddess whose worship was spread pretty much throughout the entire Greco-Roman world. She's first mentioned in the Old Kingdom a long time before the birth of Christ as one of the main characters of the Osiris myth, in which she resurrects her slain husband and produces and protects his heir Horus. She's believed to help the dead enter the afterlife as she helped Osiris, and she was considered the divine mother of the pharaoh, who in fact was likened to Horus himself. Her maternal aid was invoked in healing spells to benefit ordinary people, and originally she played a limited role in royal rituals and temple rites, although really she's more prominent in funerary practices and magical texts. In art, she's usually portrayed as a human woman wearing a throne-like hieroglyph on her head, and during the New Kingdom, a lot closer to the birth of Christ, 1550 to 1070 BCE, she took on traits that originally belonged to Hathor, another god who we do see in Pathfinder. Man, at some point I need to play a war priest that worships these gods. Anywho, Isis remained one of the most widely worshipped of the Egyptian deities moving forward throughout Egypt's history. After Alexander the Great rolled through in the Hellenistic period, Isis came also to be worshipped by the Greeks, along with a new god they invented known as Serapis. Worship of Isis continued as Rome made its way through Egypt, and really the worship of Isis wasn't ended until the rise of Christianity in the 4th and 5th centuries after death. Now, I'm not necessarily here to start that zeitgeist debate. We all have our own opinions and beliefs, and I think that's great, but her worship may have influenced Christian beliefs and practices, basically the veneration of Mary. The story is kind of similar, as a lot of religious stories truly are. But anywho, in Pathfinder, in the land of Osirion, a long time ago, all of these gods existed and were worshipped by the locals. This stayed the way it is until basically the core deities made their way through. The cult of the Dawnflower swept through Osirion, worship of Sarenrae began to take a major hold, and so as the gods lost power and influence, their attention, if you will, shifted from Osirion to planet Earth. Though, of course, your Pathfinder character could still worship one of these deities and receive spells and stuff, but in Pathfinder, Isis's story is 100% the same. When Set killed Osiris, it was Isis who recovered Osiris's body and used her magic to conceive a son with her dead husband, and enraged Set tore apart Osiris's corpse and scattered the remains, but Isis brought him back to life. In Pathfinder, Isis is a goddess of rebirth and resurrection, as well as the protector of the canopic jar that holds the deceased person's liver. She's also a deity of magic, both arcane and divine, and is traditionally worshipped by sorcerers, wizards, witches as a patron of magic, but also by mothers, wives, and druids, as her role as a goddess of fertility. As one might assume, Isis is in fact neutral good. Her domains are charm, community, good, healing, and magic, with the subdomains Agathian, arcane, divine, family, love, and resurrection. Her favored weapon is the quarterstaff, and her symbol, the Knot of Isis. Now we come to the fun homebrew stuff. To perform Isis's deific obedience, arrange several pieces of a broken doll, drawing, or other representation of a disassembled humanoid figure on a piece of cloth. Put the representation back together and chant prayers to Isis, pantomiming resurrecting a dead humanoid. In return, you no longer have to pay material costs for spells that bring the dead back to life. Evangelist boons grant us Shield Other 3 times a day, Cure Moderate Wounds twice a day, or Divine Favor once a day. At level 16, in combat, the Queen of Miracles bestows upon you an aura that protects your allies from harm and stitches their wounds. Allies within 30 feet of you gain fast healing equal to half your hit dice. And at 20th level, Isis blessings upon you and those you care for intensify. Allies within this aura become immune to any condition that would decrease any d20 roll, such as Shaken, or ability score, such as Poison. The fast healing increases to your hit dice plus your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, whichever is higher. Exalted boons grant us Shillelagh 3 times a day, Lead Blades, a quarterstaff only, twice a day or once a day in large person. At level 16, Isis's sacred weapon becomes a whirlwind in your hands. You may treat a quarterstaff as a light weapon, and any quarterstaff you wield increases its damage dice by 1 step. This stacks with effects like the impact enchantment. At level 20, a number of times per day equal to your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma, whichever is higher. As an immediate action when an ally is struck by an evil creature in combat, you may declare a righteous smite. Until the target of your righteous smite is dead or you rest. You gain a sacred bonus on attack and damage rolls against it equal to half your hit dice, and attacks you make against it with a quarterstaff automatically bypass damage reduction and prevent regeneration. Sentinel boons grant us Bless 3 times a day, Lesser Restoration twice a day, or once a day, Remove Fear. At level 16, any spell you cast that would heal hit point damage, ability score damage, or ability score drain is automatically maximized as per the metamagic feat. And at level 20, spells you cast that bring the dead back to life have a casting time of 1 full round action. The creature is brought back with its entire body intact, with no negative levels or spell loss, and gains a sacred bonus on checks and saves, equal to half your level for 24 hours. Seems real good for the goddess that brought a god back to life, right? Anywho, Isis, of course, is neutral good, and as such, she's getting herself some homebrew in the form of a Black Dragon Gaming Paladin code. It goes as such. I am a protector of families. The bond a family shares is unbreakable, and I will see to it that evil does not cause a family hardship or loss. The Lord of the Dark Desert is beyond forgiveness or redemption. I will bring justice to his servants wherever they may roam. Those who have died before their time are those who deserve the most care. I will raise them from the dead if I am able, or protect their body and soul as it travels to the afterlife if I am not. Magic is a gift. I will protect those blessed with that gift and see to it that those who use that gift to cause undue harm are made to cease. And of course, as of planar adventures, when we complete particularly crazy crusades or do other super great things in the eyes of our deities bestow one-time boons on us now, basically at 100% GM fiat for Isis, a number of times per day equal to half your level. As an immediate action when an ally would die, they are instead brought to full hit points. Now, DeBarbarak wanted to know the difference between Isis and Sarenrae. The difference here is Isis is more about protecting the family, bringing back the dead, caring for the dead, the nicer side of mercy, whereas Sarenrae is you're evil, one chance to repent. You want it? Great. You don't want it? Scimitar to your throat until you're dead. Though, of course, the reason Sarenrae is more popular now in Osirion is because Paizo wanted to bring their deities forward, and really, I imagine when the Inner Sea region was conceived, the Egyptian gods were far from anyone's minds. I can definitely see how that kind of mentality, a little more aggressive, a little more forceful and assertive, especially in a time when Osirion wasn't ruled by people from Osirion, would be more popular than something more passive like Isis. Does that make worship of Isis worse? No, I don't think so at all. In fact, I'm still kind of hankering for the day when my patrons come forward and say, hey, let's play a game in Ancient Osirion. Or maybe I'll do that with my friends at some point. where all of the weapons are downgraded and you only have like kopeshes, which are martial now, spears, sickles, weapons that would have existed a super long time ago, and we play in Age of Legends Osirion. I think that would be super fun. And if I were to GM in a campaign where ISIS is relevant, of course, that's 100% where we're going, what we're doing, because who doesn't want to fight mummies and giant scorpions and the servants of Set, right? Though personally, I've never really thought in my head that I wanted to play someone who worshipped Isis. I definitely have spent a lot of time thinking about the gods of ancient Osirion. We talked about this last week on the Abraxas video. Nephthys sounds a whole lot like Nethys, and we definitely played off that in a campaign that I ran start to finish a pretty long time ago now. And ever since playing through Assassin's Creed Origins and getting the armor of Sekhmet, playing a cleric who worships Sekhmet or like a war priest dual-wielding axes or something seems pretty fun to me, because, you know, who doesn't want to worship something all about slaughter? And also, I think Set would be a fun god of necromancy. It is, in fact, in his subdomains, after all. I definitely 100% would love to GM a game in this setting, and I like talking about it here, so what do you guys think about these deities? Have you played a character who worshipped an ancient Osirian god? Have you GM'd, say, like Mummy's Mask? And how do you feel about real-world deities in your Pathfinder game? Let me know in the comments, and thank you guys so much for watching. Here's hoping you like those real-world gods, because the next episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship is going from ancient Egypt to Hinduism, and we're gonna cover Kali. We'll see you Wednesday.